Skilled Carer is here to provide more than just care. We support families, participants, support workers, care teams and the community to understand disability, reduce stigma, grow capacity, promote happiness and achieve dreams. I started Skilled Carer to provide sustainable growth, trust, integrity and education to the industry. We do this by employing reliable and responsible support workers with high integrity and moral fibre. We educate and support them within the industry, and we liaise with families to find sustainable solutions to their lives and facilitate their needs. Our goal is to enable each person we support to live the life they choose. We facilitate our clients' goals, which may be to rejoin the workforce, get and hold a job or career, master everyday tasks, gain ownership and independence, or access community services, as well as anything else they need and are searching for. We provide education through the zones of regulation to help the individual learn and understand their emotions, recognise others, and implement strategies to help them regulate their emotions and reduce behaviours. Welcome to our discussion on practical strategies for supporting kids with ADHD or attention deficit hyperactive disorder. So this is a neurodevelopmental disorder that affects millions of people worldwide. It can make it challenging for people and kids to focus, pay attention, be organized and stay organized. And it can lead to academic, social, and behavioral difficulties. There are some practical strategies that parents, caregivers, educators, support workers can use to support children with ADHD, and we're going to dive into some of them. I have implemented lots of different strategies throughout my time in the classroom, working in the special needs setting, as well as the mainstream setting with special needs children. Different environments from within the classroom, in a sport and PE environment, which might be, a noisy gym, or outside on an oval in a windy day, as well as through the support work that I've done with kids and adults with a complex cocktail of their different abilities and needs. And so I feel it's somewhat relevant that I have some advice and things to say on the topic. Firstly, routine can be really helpful, and sticking to that routine. Children with ADHD in particular benefit from structure and predictability. So, being able to establish a consistent routine for things like meals, homework, bedtime, free time, socializing, they can be really helpful. I guess as we get older, then, as a child, we're going through those stages of learning, and with learning and education, there's trial and error. We don't know everything. That's why we go to school, to understand the social expectations and develop, various aspects of our personality and our intelligence and what we need to learn about the world and about people, and particularly socializing. And there are lots of issues that come about when, I guess, the person in charge doesn't exactly know the best way to handle a situation. They can sometimes put the person with ADHD in a position where they're going to make bad choices, and that's not fair and that's not right. And unfortunately, I guess that's sometimes, just through ignorance of the people around, and to sometimes no fault of their own, but it's, each individual's, I guess, responsibility to undertake the right education around learning about, various abilities and people that they work with, and just overall having an open and keeping an open mind. Creating a visual schedule or a checklist to help particularly kids or adults with disability and a combination of that and intellectual disability stay on track. Um, that might be, I guess, taking it away from a classroom setting, but in the home, a visual aid that has all the 3 things you need to do when you wake up in the morning. Get dressed, with a picture and a tick box or a Velcro button that you can maneuver, and get dressed, have breakfast, brush your teeth, school bag, whatever it is, 5, 6, whatever they need to enable them to remember. So, and it helps you as the parent, caregiver, or support worker as well to not have to constantly be reminding, hey, you need to do this now, you need to do this, because that can become tiring and exhausting as well. So you can just refer them to the chart. What's next on the chart? What's next on the chart? And eventually, upon repetition, we'll build up those neuro pathways within the brain to hopefully help in that situation and create more concrete links about what to do when you're not sure what to do. Breaking down these tasks into manageable steps, because large tasks can feel overwhelming, particularly to kids with ADHD. And generally speaking, kids with ADHD going through puberty and the figuring out medication. Are we going to medicate? Are we not? Are we going to increase dosage? Or, she's going through a growth spurt. What do we do now? So yeah, there's a lot of complex variety there. Encouraging the person to focus on one step at a time and making sure that you're offering plenty of positive reinforcement along the way. Providing breaks and movement breaks within the classroom was something that was absolutely necessary. Kids with ADHD, they do often have trouble sitting still for long periods of time. So giving those breaks throughout the day, and it might be a set of work, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever they're capable of, and recognizing sometimes when they may be heightened and they may need a change to that structure. They've just come in from recess. They've got an issue. You can tell that something's happened just from the way that they're sort of acting, and you've tried to align them a few times. And I'm sorry for continually bringing this back to the classroom, but that's the first thing that comes in my head, even though it was 12 months ago now when I was last in a classroom. It's the first thing that jumps to my mind. With those breaks, providing them an opportunity to do something physical, whether it's get up, go for a walk. Within my classroom, we had a veggie garden that we created and grew and cultivated, and we would make sure that we, once or twice a day, we're going out there as a group to tend to the veggies. And, they got a lot of empowerment and ownership out of that, and being able to take the veggies home. And it started off, I guess, the kids were quite withdrawn, and some of them were involved and really excited, and some not so much. But after a while of that repetition and feeling more comfortable with it, they did all develop great ownership over that situation, and were really proud of the work that they'd done. That was a great, brain break there to break up the day. So that it wasn't just the same 4 walls within a classroom trying to do the work, and providing a context that was unable to be very sustainable long term. Using positive reinforcement and praise. Everyone responds well to positive feedback and praise. Some people might not like it as much and might be a bit shy and might make them feel uncomfortable, but everyone needs it. And offering that, and when someone demonstrates good behavior or completes a task, and again, focusing on that effort. I talked about that in the autism podcast. Focus on the effort, not the outcome. So if someone sat there focused and done their work, cool, maybe they only got 60% on the maths test. If they bring that maths test up to me, Again, focusing on the classroom. I know they brought the maths test up to me. Let's do a different context. Out shooting hoops. Let's do a different context. Support worker in the home, helping someone create independence for themselves and feel empowered, cooking a meal. They don't feel too comfortable in the kitchen. They've gone to, we're making a pizza. We've rolled the dough. We've mixed up the dough. We've created the pizza and it's not going super to plan and it's come out a bit burnt. Or what an amazing effort. I can't believe, look, we've made this from scratch. That is phenomenal. Focusing on the positives, that effort that you've put in, you focused on that task. You did such an amazing job. I'm going to focus and reward you with positive comments because of the effort you put in, not because of the outcome. You consider implementing a reward system. This can be an effective way to motivate and encourage positive behavior. So much more, one, positive, it makes you feel happy, but two, it's more reliable and it's proven to have better outcomes than introducing punishments for bad behaviors or negative reinforcement, telling someone off for bad behaviors. And it can be exhausting constantly telling someone off for the things that they're doing wrong for yourself and for them. Imagine just, it's the poker chip theory. Imagine being told off your entire life within the classroom or your home settings for the things that you do wrong because, of a biological difference that you have and neurodiversity that you have that somebody else doesn't understand. And many people don't understand it. Even many people within the industry of disability don't understand it and how to handle that situation in a positive and meaningful way. And so giving the poker chips, constantly looking for the positives and building people up for the good things that they do, not focusing on the bad things that they do and trying to constantly align them when they get distracted or they're showing that inattention or they're distracting others or whatever it is that they're doing and you feel like they're not paying attention. Working with your school or your healthcare professionals, if there's an opportunity to undertake some education and learn about different speech pathologies or occupational therapies, take that with two hands. Sometimes interacting with a school, particularly I think high school, is probably harder. In a primary school setting, I'm talking mainstream settings. In a mainstream setting, you're working with generally the same classroom teacher. So yeah, they're going to know your child inside and out, and they're going to be able to, you're going to be able to liaise a lot better. Within a secondary school setting, that's when you do see the kids who struggle with ADHD. They do, year 7 and 8, it becomes really, really difficult for them because they're expected to remember all these different things within the school and have that focus and go to all these different classrooms and a changing context and, the social expectations that come with that. And you as a parent or, maybe not every teacher is going to be fully aware of what's happening with that individual student. At the heart of it, every person is unique. And what works for one child or person may not work for another. Be patient, be flexible, and willing to try different approaches, having that open-mindedness to find out what works best for the individual. Back on that classroom context, with taking the group out to the veggie patch, there was a few other things that we did. We made a street library. We would do car washing and wash other staff members' cars and use that money to create a real life tangible reason. When there is that real life application, hey, we've just earned this physical money, we're putting it together, what are we going to save up for? They own it, they decide it, they market that situation. Giving responsibility to kids with ADHD, it makes them feel like they're a necessary part of the team and that we can't function without them. And it gives them ownership. They can, be really meticulous and focused and driven when they have something that they're required to do and a responsibility. They will want to finish something they start. They'll be really focused, and many are creative with art, Lego, Minecraft, and, have skills that may remain untapped or unnoticed if they're not, and seeing, instead of seeing these aspects as fixations or as negatives, as society might see them, these are our strengths, to use to our advantage and allow that individual the opportunity to succeed. Facing the person with ADHD a direction where they're not going to be distracted. So if you're standing there talking to them, and there's a lot of action happening behind you, they're potentially going to get distracted. Looking at a window, a dog might be there, an animal, kids playing, whatever it is, loud, noisy environments. And explore the times of day when it's best to focus. And this may depend on the type of medication. Is it a slow release medication? Okay, well, then it's not going to kick in till, you say, middle of the day. So trying to focus early on in the morning might be more difficult. If it's a fast-acting medication, generally 15 to 20 minutes straight after that medication's administered, is a great time to focus. And particularly, as I was saying about the puberty and the growth periods, it can vary and it can be a bit complex trying to figure that out. Diet, plays a massive part in everybody, regardless of ability or disability. Fueling your car with, poor fuel isn't going to enable it to run the best that it can. Healthy, non-processed whole foods, they benefit everyone's brain. And that's not, as I said, specific to ADHD. Give it a go, try it. Yeah, it can be really hard to find ways to change an individual's nutritional intake. And I know this firsthand. It just requires that, kind, fun-loving, happy approach where you are trying to constantly not let it get you down when it doesn't work. Having fun, exploring the different opportunities and bringing a caring and validating and accepting attitude is going to be more important than the exact strategy used, or focusing on making sure you do everything right. Take the pressure off yourself and off both of you, and be kind to yourself. It's a journey. It's hard, and you're doing a great job. Impulsivity, inattention, and mood stability. These are the factors that define ADHD, and it can present in different ways. Patterns of inattention or hyperactivity, and these things result in interpersonal struggles and damage to relationships and challenges in school and the workplace. ADHD symptoms in girls are more likely to go unnoticed during childhood. Some of the more tangible responses of ADHD are, that inattention when completing schoolwork or doing something, being distracted and forgetting what you're doing, losing your essential items like your keys, wallet, your phone, being easily distracted by thoughts that are, unrelated to what you're trying to do, struggling to finish and organizing things and tasks, constantly talking, interrupting others during conversations or activities, and just feelings of restlessness. And learning and motivation, they're integral parts of our lives as humans. From the time we're born, we're constantly learning. From when we're a baby, learning how to walk, eat by ourselves. And motivation is, intrinsically linked to learning. We need that reward system to achieve our goals. And that just develops over time, so especially in our adult years. We don't go to the gym because we do go to the gym because we've created good habits, maybe one. Two, we've got the reward there The reward is I go and it makes me feel good. I see the results and I enjoy continually coming back. And that compounding effect of a positive habit linked to a reward, um, an immediate reward in how it makes you feel straight away, and a long-term reward in how your body changes over time. So, it's challenging to continue learning if we lack motivation. We're going to continue learning throughout our lives due to our constantly evolving world. So, dopamine helps to regulate our emotional responses as well and increase our feelings of those rewards and a satisfaction when completing something. You know, this is why testing or recognizing, in school years and young years, and while a person, while interventions can help to strengthen the pathways of good habits and good behaviors, which allows a person to thrive in later years rather than fight an uphill battle of the biological and the physiological formation in the brain that has strengthened the pathways of the inattention, of the hyperactivity, of a lack of focus. Habits play such a huge role in who we are as people and the things that we do in a day-to-day life. ADHD is affected by dopamine production and utilization of dopamine. Dopamine is our brain's reward system. It makes us feel good. It's those positive feelings that we get. And the research sort of speculates that an underlying cause of ADHD is a dysfunctional dopamine transmission. So the brain can't receive the dopamine correctly. So you can imagine why the inattention and the hyperactivity, and there's no focus on one thing to achieve one goal, because the dopamine's not coordinating us and aligning us to what we want to do and what's going to give us a good feeling. The research, it reasons as to why some people have ADHD, and that's an increase in the amount of dopamine transporters. Dopamine transport density in the brain results in lowered dopamine levels in the brain. So a decreased amount of dopamine in the brain is the diagnosis of ADHD. This dopamine, it allows us to regulate those emotional responses and take action to achieve those specific rewards and the feelings of pleasure that come from that. Medication can increase dopamine levels in the brain by targeting the dopamine transporters and increasing dopamine levels. So some people think that taking a high dose in medications will lead to greater focus and attention, but it's not true. If your dopamine levels are too high, it can make it difficult to focus as well. There's a few natural things that you can do. You try a new activity, something new it's going to be keep a focus and make you feel good about what's coming. Make a list of small tasks. So ticking things off a list, you'll see that within schools that a lot of systems of tick boxes, and that elicits that positive response and those feelings of achieving a reward and feeling good and releasing the dopamine. Listening to music, exercising regularly, meditation or yoga, redesigning your life so that the actions that matter most are the easiest. We naturally gravitate to the easiest behavior, and also reducing the friction, associated with good habits. That's how we change and create positive habits and change from bad habits. So to create a good habit, make your life easier. If you want to eat healthier food, don't put unhealthy food in the house. 40 to 50% of our actions every day are formed by habits. They're automatic choices that shape minutes or hours of our lives. So they're decisive moments and small forks in the road that can determine whether you have a good day or a bad day. Just making the right decision at that point. When I'm going down to the shops and I'm buying food, only buying the healthy food, then that friction at home, when I go to the pantry, I go to the fridge because I'm bored and I'm looking for a dopamine hit. That's why we do it. There's nothing bad to have.
If I want to have a bad food or a cigarette or alcohol or whatever that habit is, I now have to, the friction is there. I now have to get in the car, go down the street, buy it, bring it back, and induce it. Now, am I actually going to do that if I just want a piece of chocolate? Yeah, all right, I might just have an apple, or there's cereal there. Maybe I'll have that. Also, reducing the opportunity for good things, making the positive habit easier. So, a specific example that I've seen in my life is an issue waking up and getting out of bed and being on time for school, work, appointments, whatever it is. Putting that phone instead of beside my bed and beside my head where I can just snooze the alarm or turn it off, putting it in the kitchen, putting it far away. So I now I've increased that, I've made it easier for myself to make that good choice. I now have to get up out of bed, go turn off that alarm, pick it up. And then I'm more likely, just that small fork in the road that I'm forced to make that choice. I've done it. I'm more likely to be awake than just being able to press that button. If you've got issues remembering appointments, use a calendar. My memory is shocking. And so I use my phone. Always, my phone is attached to me for the majority of the time, unless it's sort of after hours, and I try to put it away. I put it away again for a habit. So I'm no longer going to look at it when I'm bored. I'm looking for the dopamine, and I'm just sitting there for a second. I put it all the way in another room, put it on charge. Therefore, if I need to get up and look at it because I'm bored and looking for a dopamine, I've got to get up and go all the way. It's not worth it. I'm just going to leave it. Don't worry about it. But I'm going to use my calendar to remember all the different appointments that I have. Now, if you're not on your phone all that much, wherever you are, in your room, in your house, you can use a calendar on the wall that is going to keep all your appointments and important information in there, and it makes it more likely that you're going to do those things. Now, if you're grumpier in the morning, what is it that's going to give you that dopamine? Is it getting up and going to the gym, doing activity, going for a walk? Is it having a coffee? Those simple things and forming those habits are going to make it more easy to achieve the things that you want out of life. I'm going to finish now with restorative practice. And this is the act of repairing a relationship. And it's the most important part of a conflict. Conflicts happen with kids, with adults, with friends, in relationships. And it's crucial to repairing that relationship, especially with kids, because you're the person who has to do it. You're the adult. You're the responsible person in the situation. You have to be the bigger person. They're not capable of it. And it provides a framework for addressing the harm that's been caused. And it seeks to repair that harm in a way that acknowledges the person's needs and the perspective of all parties involved. And this approach is rooted in principles of empathy, accountability, taking ownership for the things that you've done in that situation, and doing that first and foremost on the front foot with it, not waiting till someone accuses you of it. It doesn't make us feel good. When you come out initially, I'm really sorry, here's what I've done. The other person, it always puts them at ease. You feel it in a conversation and you just relax. It makes it inclusive, and it encourages the use of collaboration to find solutions that are meaningful and effective. So talking to the individual about how we can solve this problem. What do you need? How can I help you? What would you like to see the outcome be? When children experience harm, whether it's from conflict from peers, misunderstandings with adults, or different types of negative interactions, it can be difficult for them to process their emotions and move forward in a healthy way. And so doing it straight away, probably not the best choice. Give them space, allow that time. And people, people with ADHD, they need that longer period of time because of the dopamine. They need that longer period of time to regulate their emotions. And so there's no point talking to someone when they're in fight or flight mode or they're in the red zone and trying to come up with a collaborative problem-solving solution. It's not going to work. You need to step away, give them space, give yourself space, think about it, and then come back to that situation. And that's going to provide a better way to manage a problem and stop causing different types of damage along the way. Restorative practices, they provide safe and supportive environment for children to express themselves and to share their feelings and work towards those solutions that address, where the harm has come from and what's happened and what's been done. Most schools do have a restorative practice in place, and it's not always implemented. Some people are great at it and some people aren't. And that's, the school system. And that's why you do see some relationships, particularly with people with ADHD, the relationship breaks down because the person who is in charge of that situation and is the adult in that situation is too busy. They're running out of time and they don't value that connection and they don't value that restorative practice in fixing and correcting that problem and showing the person that they care at the essence of it. Great coordinators in schools are really, really good at this. It's about people and managing relationships and apologizing and taking ownership. People who are higher up in the business life, they take more ownership and responsibility for things. So it doesn't discount, the type of person that you are. It actually enhances it. And, adults can model. They're also modeling this empathy and understanding and showing people, kids, adults, whoever it is, the person with the disability, they're showing others how to act in a certain situation. Take the responsibility. This is what I did. This is how I think it made you feel, or ask them how they feel. And that approach is going to build trust and strengthen a relationship. And that is how you create positive relationships and rapport. Miscommunications are always going to happen with people. And putting yourself in someone else's shoes and thinking more often than not, how does this person feel? What is their situation? We never know what's going on in their life. How can I possibly know that? And we all make mistakes. So coming at it with that kindness approach is why it's fundamental to, one, working in disability or as a teacher or in schools or, when you're in a position of responsibility, as well as interacting with other humans if you want to have successful relationships. And promoting those positive behaviors. And these lead to, healthier, more respectful and inclusive communities. I've got a few tips for dispute resolution. Initially, when you approach it, give them that take up time. When you're heightened, you and the individual are both heightened. It's not a time to approach that situation and try to resolve that conflict. Go to the meeting, you're going to have to put the olive branch out there a lot of times, particularly with someone who has had compounding negative effects in these types of situations with people who don't really know exactly how to handle that situation. So you're going to have to ask them questions. How did I make you feel? They give you nothing. They might give you nothing in the first 6 questions. I think it made you feel this. Am I right? Allowing them that yes or no answer makes it really, really easy for them to not have to think too much, not have to come to the table emotionally, but they can just go, yes, no. You can delve a little bit deeper, and asking them something simple first, hey, do you mind bringing me that chair? Can I sit with you? When they say yes, they're more likely to say yes in a subsequent request. So you're already scaffolding that it's okay to say yes. It's okay to be involved in this conversation. Kids can also tell confidence and body language. If you walk into a room and you're showing a reserved body language, your arms are crossed, or you're holding one, or you're feeling uncomfortable, kids read that. So walk into the room assuming that everybody likes you with a smile. And people love being referred to by their names. Lots of us, including and especially me, forget the person's name half a second after they've introduced themselves. And this is important to try to change in yourself. It establishes a sense of trust and friendship right away. If the person is someone who's going to say no, and I've seen this in kids, negotiators use this tactic where the person's constantly saying no to things that you bring them, offers, opportunities to chat, and things that you're saying. You can ask them a reverse question. Hey, do you mind if I chat with you? No. They're automatically going to say no. And then you go and chat with them. Before they can even think and process, they've answered it and you've done what they've said. No, you don't mind. And it sort of It's a tricky little way of engaging in that relationship and having them sort of reconsider, hey, what's going on? And it can just sort of make them reset their mind and get into a more positive response. I'd love to hear from people about their experience with this. If you'd like to chat, we're always here. Reach out with an email, text, phone call, whatever it is. Thanks.
Thanks again for taking the time to listen. Stay tuned for further episodes released weekly. If you want to get in touch with me or a support worker from Skilled Carer, please contact us at skilledcarer@gmail.com. Check the website, www.skilledcarer.com, or leave a voice note here. We are always keen on chatting with people about opportunities and learning how we can support you and your family to make your life easier.